Did you know you can be fully awake, highly functional, hitting your deadlines, and still be completely unconscious? Not asleep, not lazy, just mentally hijacked. Like someone replaced your brain with a browser that has 37 tabs open, 12 of them playing audio. And somewhere in there, God help you, Spotify is trying to autoplay Coldplay again. That's not stress. That's not modern life. That's a full blown identity crisis in incognito mode. But the wildest part? You don't even know it's happening. You're scrolling, working, replying to group chats you hate, and calling it productivity. Meanwhile, your soul is somewhere in the background, quietly lighting a cigarette and whispering, "This is fine." You think everything's okay until something small breaks. And for me, it was pants. One morning, I was fully dressed. Or so I thought. Shirt, socks, belt, check. But I looked down and realized I'd been standing in the bathroom for 6 full minutes with no pants on, toothbrush in hand, mentally gone. Not scrolling, not thinking, just buffering. Like my brain needed to reboot and forgot where it put the USB stick. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't tired. I wasn't behind. I was fogged out. Like I'd been living underwater. Functioning, yes, but flat. The world wasn't in color anymore. It was beige. That's the fog. It doesn't crash in like a storm. It seeps in like a gas leak, slowly, silently, until one day you realize you've been breathing poison and calling it air. And no one warns you about it, because we've normalized it. Ha ha ha, I'm just a hot mess express. You're in pain, but the world loves it when you're too distracted to do anything about it. And I was right there with you, drowning in noise, calling it progress, until I hit a wall made of calendar invites and unread notifications and my own damn thoughts screaming over each other like drunk raccoons in a group chat. That was my turning point. And not the glamorous kind. No mountaintop, no enlightenment. Just a pantsless man staring at himself in the mirror thinking, this cannot be peak human consciousness. But here's the thing. That moment, that weird, tiny, ridiculous moment, that was the start. Because once you notice the fog, you can't unsee it. And that's when things get interesting. Because what comes next is clarity. Real, dangerous, peacemaking clarity. But first, we've got to walk straight into the noise. Ready? Chapter 2. Mental hoarding and the breaking point. You know those reality shows where someone's house is packed wall to wall with newspapers, broken toasters, and 19 cats named after breakfast cereals? That was my mind. I wasn't lazy. I was just hoarding thoughts, old ones, dumb ones, regret-shaped ones, to-do lists from 2019. 1,000 half-finished ideas stacked like emotional Jenga, and every day felt like the whole thing might collapse if I moved too fast. I didn't even realize it was happening, because we don't talk about mental clutter. We worship being busy. We wear burnout like a badge of honor. Look how exhausted I am. I must be important. Nah, you're just over capacity. You've got a 5-lane highway brain and traffic backed up to your childhood. And you feel it. The fatigue that sleep can't fix. The irritability. The phantom guilt. That twitch in your eye that shows up when someone says, "Quick question?" You're full and still trying to fit more in. For me, the breaking point wasn't a big tragedy. It was traffic. Just traffic. 47 minutes, missed an exit. Then someone cut me off, and I just sat there, screaming into my steering wheel like a man being exercised by Google Maps. And then I laughed, because I finally saw it. I wasn't mad about traffic. I was mad about everything. The obligations I didn't say no to. The people I was trying to impress. The version of myself I was pretending to be. All of it. Piled on. No wonder I couldn't think. My brain was full of crap I didn't even want. That's what mental hoarding does. It doesn't just weigh you down, it distorts your reality. You start reacting to the wrong things. You cry over a spilled smoothie because really it's about the 6 months of silent resentment you've been choking down. You snap over dishes in the sink because you haven't had an actual moment to yourself in 3 weeks. It builds, quietly. And then one day, you lose it over a traffic light. And that's when it all clicks. This isn't sustainable. And no one's coming to rescue you from your own overloaded brain. That's when I knew. Either I clear this out or I keep breaking in small, ridiculous ways until there's nothing left. And that was the beginning of change. Chapter 3. The First Minute of Silence. So there I was. After the traffic meltdown, after the laugh-cry breakdown combo that left me staring out my windshield like I just witnessed the end of civilization, I decided to try something radical. Not therapy, not journaling, not a digital detox, just silence. 1 minute, that's it. No phone, no background noise, no agenda. Just me, a chair, and the sound of absolutely nothing. Sounds easy, right? It was horrifying. You'd think I was sitting in a room full of live snakes. My brain freaked out like someone pulled the fire alarm. It started throwing everything it had at me. What if you never amount to anything? Did you reply to that email? Remember that embarrassing thing you said in 2014? Oh, and the Pokemon theme song, on loop. Because of course. But I didn't move. I didn't run. I just let it happen. 60 seconds of psychological cage fighting. And then, somewhere in that chaos, I heard it. My voice. Not out loud. But under the noise, quiet, tired, real. It said, "Oh, you don't have to live like this." I hadn't heard that voice in years. Not because it wasn't speaking, but because I was too loud to hear it. That's when I realized something nobody tells you. Clarity isn't about gaining insight. It's about removing interference. Your inner compass works fine. You've just buried it under push notifications, obligations, and TikToks about how to fix your whole personality in 30 seconds. We keep looking for the next hack, the next plan, the next big answer, when the most powerful shift you can make is to just shut up for a second. Because when you stop cramming input into every crack of your day, the truth finally has space to crawl out of the dark. And spoiler, that truth isn't always pretty. Sometimes it whispers things you've been trying hard not to know. But that's the point. You can't clean a house in the dark, and most of us are living in pitch black, wondering why we keep tripping over the furniture. That 1 minute changed everything. Not because it fixed me, but because it showed me what needed fixing. Not with force, with stillness. So I kept going. 1 minute turned into 2, 2 into 10. Some days were messy, some felt sacred, but every time I got a little closer to me, the me beneath the noise. And that me wasn't broken, just buried. Chapter 4. Saying no to save your life. Nobody tells you that clarity is going to piss people off, like you think you're about to become more peaceful, and everyone will just cheer you on from the sidelines. Nope, try again. Because the moment you start saying no, the world starts twitching. What do you mean you can't make it? Why didn't you respond sooner? You've changed. Yeah, I have, on purpose. You know how hard it is to realize most of your life has been a series of obligations you didn't choose and conversations you didn't want to have? It's like waking up mid-surgery. You're just suddenly aware that you're in the middle of something and you don't remember saying yes to any of it. But you did. Every small sure, every silent nod. Every time you said, "I got it," when you absolutely did not have it. That stuff adds up. And then, one day you find yourself rage cleaning the kitchen because someone asked you to bring cupcakes to a party you didn't even want to go to. That's when the no begins. At first, it's clumsy. You over-explain, you apologize, you say, "Not right now, maybe later," knowing damn well there is no later. But then it clicks. You don't owe anyone your depletion. You don't have to justify protecting your peace like it's some kind of criminal act. So I started saying it, just no. No to back-to-back Zoom calls, no to conversations that drain me, no to being emotionally available 24/7 like I'm some kind of spiritual vending machine. People noticed, some got offended. They said, "You used to be so responsive." I said, I used to be so exhausted. They said, "You're hard to reach lately." I said, "I'm finally reachable," to myself. Because here's the truth. If you're always accessible to everyone else, you become inaccessible to the one person who matters most, you. And that's not selfish. That's survival. Clarity doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less of what kills you slowly. Every no is a boundary, a line in the sand, a declaration that your life is not a public park open 24 hours. At first, it's uncomfortable. You feel guilty. You wonder if you're being too harsh. But then something incredible happens. You feel lighter, like you just unstrapped a backpack full of bricks and remembered you had a spine. That's the magic of no. It doesn't shut doors. It opens space. Space for breath. Space for thought. Space for you. And when you protect that space long enough, it becomes sacred. You stop apologizing for your clarity. You start guarding it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Chapter 6. Why clarity feels so damn dangerous. Let me tell you something most people won't admit. Clarity is not cute. It's not cozy. It's not the scented candle version of mental health. Clarity is violent. It strips the fake comfort right off your life. Because the moment your mind clears, even a little bit, you start seeing everything. The relationships you've outgrown, the job that's quietly suffocating your soul, the habits that felt harmless until you realize they were just anesthesia. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's the danger. You become incompatible with your old life. You stop tolerating things you used to explain away. You stop laughing at jokes that don't match your spirit. You walk out of conversations halfway through because your body literally can't sit through another empty loop of gossip and fake enthusiasm. People notice. Some admire it. Some absolutely hate it. Because your clarity holds up a mirror and not everyone's ready to look into it. You're not playing the game anymore. You're not chasing gold stars or bending to fit the shape of someone else's comfort. You're not apologizing for shrinking or softening or showing up halfway. No, you're walking around with that look in your eye, the one that says, "I know who I am and I'm not negotiating anymore." And that scares people. Not because you're scary, but because you're free. And freedom has a frequency that makes the unhealed twitch. But it also calls in your real people, the ones who have done their own clearing, the ones who don't need you to be confused to feel better about themselves. And suddenly your whole ecosystem shifts. Your phone's quieter, your energy's lighter, your time feels sacred. You unsubscribe from emails and drama and outdated versions of yourself. You crave silence, stillness, substance. And that weird quiet you used to run from now feels like home. And the more you live from that place, the more allergic you become to anything that drags you back into the noise. Fake urgency, empty validation, chaotic friendships held together by mutual exhaustion. You don't argue, you don't try to convince anyone to join you. You just leave, peacefully, silently, because your peace is worth more than their comfort. And that makes you dangerous. Not to others, but to every system that fed on your confusion, to every belief that kept you obedient, to every mask you wore just to survive a world that told you being clear was too much, too cold, too honest. But now you know, clarity isn't cold, it's warm, like a fire you build inside yourself. And once you taste it, you won't go back, even if you could. Chapter 7. The stillness beneath the noise. There's a moment, maybe it comes after a week of silence or a random Tuesday afternoon when you forget to distract yourself, when the noise finally dies down, not all at once, not in some dramatic cinematic way, but quietly, like a faucet slowly being turned off, drip by drip. And what's left isn't music or motivation or fireworks. It's stillness. And at first it's uncomfortable because your brain is used to chaos like it's home. It starts panicking, starts tossing junk at you. Memories you didn't ask for. Insecurities dressed like warnings. Every embarrassing thing you've ever said at 2 a.m. But if you sit with it, if you breathe through it, something shifts. The static clears. And underneath all the noise, all the layers, all the borrowed identities, you find you. And not the curated version, not the people-pleasing shapeshifter, but the real you. The one who existed before the world told you who to be? And that person isn't weak or broken or lost. They're just buried under expectation, under survival mode, under years of pretending not to need what you've always needed: peace, presence, purpose. Not a checklist, not a dopamine drip, but real connection to your own damn self. And that connection doesn't scream, it whispers. It says, "Hey, I'm still here. I've been waiting." And when you hear that voice, really hear it. Everything else gets quiet. Not because the world changed, but because you're no longer fighting it from the inside. And that's what clarity really is. It's not control, it's not perfection. It's the radical act of being here, fully, without needing to escape every 5 seconds. And once you touch that stillness, even once, you'll never forget it. It becomes your compass, your home frequency, your "I don't need to chase anything today" energy. And yeah, the world will still spin, the emails will still come, people will still try to drag you back into the noise. But now you know the way out. And it's not a plan, it's not a product, it's not a performance, it's a choice. One breath at a time, one boundary at a time, one beautiful minute of silence at a time. And maybe, just maybe, the clearest version of you isn't something you become, but something you return to. Something that was never broken, just covered in dust, waiting to be uncovered the moment you finally stop running. So, if you're still here, if you've listened all the way to this point, don't rush off and fix something. Don't go add more noise. Just stop right now and feel it. The stillness beneath the noise, the part of you that's always been there, quietly dangerous, terrifyingly clear, and finally awake.